Read all about it. Read, baby. You gotta read. You can't scroll. Here. You gotta read all about it. It's the only way to get the news for real.
We're gonna listen all about it. Listen all about it.
It's goddamn sad that people. In the old days. Well, in the really old days, if you wanted news, you had to climb up the side of a mountain to some magi and get wisdom.
To the oracle?
The oracle. And now you just sit down on the shitter and scroll through TikTok videos, and that's how people get their news. Do you know what percentage of Americans only get their news from scrolling their feed?
I think it's 103%.
103%.
It's
that's
amazing.
right. It just
I read
came
that
out
on the shitter.
Yeah, it was the big...
Yeah.
I always, when I take a dump and I'm reading my phone, I put it down and then I wash my hands and then I pick it up again. So I don't get, because think about it, you're getting shit on the thing you're pressing against your face.
Right.
That's no good.
Sometimes I have a feeling like when I go in an airport bathroom, I want to wash my hands before I go to the urinal. Like,
yes. I can see that.
I'm clean. I showered that morning. I don't have a problem. The washing it after is not really, if I don't touch anything. I guess I touch myself.
You
that might be
pee
gross
without
too.
hands? You just undo your fly and let everything just fall out and pee?
No, I touch myself. Nothing gross. I mean, I just masturbate.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, where are you? I've lost track.
I'm in Fort Worth, Texas, not to be confused with Dallas. That's a very big, that's a touchy point for them. And if you want to win them over, you walk on stage and you go, it was so great to fly into Dallas and then drive the fuck out of there to go to Fort Worth.
Wow.
Woo, yeehaw!
Is it cold? Are they getting their ice storms
fucking
yet?
Cold, man. Texas, you think warm, but Texas is a fucking cold state in the winter.
Well, of course, they had all those the heating crisis that they had.
The heating crisis.
The
That's
grid
what they called it.
Failed.
Grid failed because they believe that you should be independent. You shouldn't be leaning on nobody else. You shouldn't count on a backup electrical system if yours goes down.
I don't know why they're not called out on being more insulting. We're the Lone Star. Sorry, we're you got America, but we're really out on our own. We're a Lone Star.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. Is that allowed? I don't think you're allowed to do that.
To be
do you have a different constitution?
Yeah, it seems like they still want to secede. I think there's a fair amount of secede people here.
Oh my God, where do I sign? Where do I sign to support that?
All right, let's not get into politics on the podcast.
Although
Haven't we learned anything?
We love Fort Worth.
Do love Fort Worth. Good people. The Late Show last night. Look, The Late Show Friday is the show that I don't sell as many tickets at. If I do 5 shows in a weekend, that's the one show that doesn't sell. They have the first show at 8:30. The second one's at 11. Who the fuck is... People wake up at 6:30 in the morning on a Friday. You think they're going out to an 11 o'clock show that lasts till 1 in the morning?
Right.
So... Long story short, what they do is they start giving out free passes to people on their mailing list. And I'm standing in the back of the room, and the 2 comics ahead of me are just choking on their own vomit. They are going up in flames.
Oh, no.
It is Bomb Fest 2023. And I'm like, and I've got no energy. I flew in yesterday. You and I did a monster year-end podcast that will air on the 24th. And I worked out. And then I did the first show, and now I'm walking into a hellfire on the second show. And I'm looking at the crowd, and it's fucking cowboy hats. There's a woman who's asleep. There are overweight people. My audience is not generally overweight. A lot of overweight people eating fast food, chicken wings.
Yeah.
A lot of different races, which is also not my audience.
Fort Worth, baby.
And I fucking had to work my ass off. Like, first 2 jokes, nothing. And,
wow.
And I'm just like, oh man. And here's the thing about being a stand-up. I've been doing this shit for 34 years.
Yeah.
It still hurts. It still hurts when it's not going well. I mean, you still start to doubt at your core whether you're funny. I mean, I wish I could finally get to the point where I could cruise through a bad set and just go, hey, it ain't me, but it still feels personal.
Right. Well, as a performer, as a professional, which you are, you're going to try to get them no matter what. And so you pivot, you know?
No, it's actually really, really good for me. It forces me to dig in and go, all right, there's some Latino people here whose English is not their first language. I did a lot of crowd work and learned that. And my job is to entertain this room of people for this hour. That's it. It doesn't matter what my credits are or what's going on next week or whatever. This is it. And you're right. I take it very seriously. I never, ever want to have a show that people leave feeling like I didn't do a good job.
Did you scream at the Latinos? Like, what? How does it not translate? Wife farting in bed. What are you guys not getting from that? Those are the simplest words. You all know them.
Right. El Fardo? What is it exactly? I'm making the noise. I'm pulling my pants down. I'm doing whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the woman who fell asleep, I bought her a, what do you call those shots? Red something?
What? Oh, the cannon, not the cannon, Fireball?
Fireball. I bought her a Fireball, and then she drank it, and then 10 minutes later, she kind of sprinted out of the room. May, in fact, have vomited during my show, which, you know.
For the record, when you ask the name of the drink, we can see that when Denman types into the Google Doc, he wrote in redheaded slut.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
I should refer to this thing once in a while.
That's a red shot. Okay.
Why do I have 2 different Sunday Papers docs open? All right. What's going on with you, my friend?
We got a family trip that was delayed from June, so tomorrow we're going to Spain. It sounds crazy as I say it. I'm not packed. We just got our assigned seats. I'm in row 38, and and when I went on to see, so it was 38 G, H, and E or something. I'm like, those don't sound together. But anyway, I went on, and I can't find H. There's no H. And so I'm like, what? Because I thought about, we had a little credit because we changed the flight. So I'm like, can I use the credit to like select? I really love a window seat. Anyway, I'm like, where? There's not even a seat G. And then it's one of those where when the back of the plane gets narrow, all of a sudden there's less seats in the middle. And row 38 is the last full row. So Seat Guru, or one of those nerds, said, a lot of people touch your seat, just so you know.
Oh, yeah.
Going up and down because they have to walk around this seat now. You're the first seat that sticks out in the aisle. So anyway, Iberia put us on level. So then I'm like a sleuth, and I had to go into level and pretend to book a flight for tomorrow to actually find seat G or H or whichever one was missing. Anyway,
maybe it's the aisle. Maybe they have you sitting in the aisle because it's overbooked.
I will lay down in the aisle. I would love that. It's a 12-hour flight.
Damn. So is it a red eye?
It is a red eye. I am bringing, the amount of drugs I'm bringing is pretty funny, actually.
You doing Ambien?
Oh, yes, I'm doing Ambien. And maybe a Xanax, and then an Advil. I mean, what else? I mean, this is
edible.
Too late.
You want a little bit, about 3 milligrams of an edible.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
And then if you want to fall asleep, just throw on the Will Arnett podcast. What's it called?
And then we land. I haven't even looked. I really am treating this like I'm flying to Vegas. Like, have not packed yet. Haven't even figured out how I can pack everything. So
wait, is Sophie home?
Sophie's home, but she's at her mom's. But I saw her yesterday. We went to Olivia's soccer game.
So are you on the same flight as Laura and George and their two daughters and your two daughters?
Yeah, George is in row 40. And Laura is sitting. Yeah, they're not sitting together.
The Irish back in steerage.
They're not sitting together. That's the other funny thing.
Oh my
I should have done that. The reason I'm in the middle is because they put the three of us together. I don't need to sit next to my bitches.
You don't need to sit next to them. No, you're going to be conked out on drugs. You don't want them seeing that.
They better.
Plus, every time I fall asleep on a plane, I spring an erection. You don't want that in front of your family.
That's why I'm going to drug myself so that doesn't happen. I remember when they were at one point, Olivia threw a tantrum. She needed the window seat. I'm like, I need the window seat. Also, I'm not going to go to the bathroom. Your tiny bladders, you're going to go all the time. And anyway, she threw this tantrum. So I'm like, fine, fine. Yeah, you're 6'1" also. You take the window seat and sit over there. So I'm in the aisle. I taught them how to walk on the handrails because I'm like, you are not fucking waking me up when I go to sleep. It was like a trip from New York. And that's what they did.
That's great.
The armrest. What did I say? Handrails? Armrest.
Well, I was talking about, and I mentioned this to you yesterday, but I doubt you did it, but I thought it would be nice to talk about the things we're grateful for in 2023. Kind of a year end. I didn't do that. All right, well, maybe I'll go first, and it'll spark some things for you.
Okay.
I went to Ireland with my family and
I'm thankful
Spain.
For your Irish trip.
And Spain as well. I know you're thankful for it. It was amazing. My sister drove me a little bit crazy. She was a little too like, we got to do 8 things today. It's like it's Ireland. You're supposed to go to a bar and then go home. That's it. But she ended up I was glad because in the end she ended up making me climb up the cliffs of Moher, and we saw a castle, and we did a bunch of cool shit.
I should call her tonight about my trip.
And then we went to Spain, and a lot of topless women on the beach, which is awkward when you're with your kids, but with some mirrored sunglasses, it can be done.
Tapas women? Like they're serving tapas?
Yeah, they were tapas.
Wait, did you go to Barcelona?
No, we went to Majorca, the island of Majorca.
Oh, that's right. I heard about right. But you have been. I need to get advice on Barcelona.
Barcelona, I have tons of advice. You want to stay. The Latin Quarter, to me, is the best part. You go down there, and they've got cobblestone streets that wind through little alleyways and farmers markets, and you get yourself some cortados. Obviously, the Familia, Sangrad, whatever the Gaudi cathedral is. What's it called?
This sounds tight.
Anyway.
Laura's in charge of Barcelona, so she has everything planned. I was in charge of Madrid. I kind of have a good take on Madrid.
Okay. I'll also get notes. My sister left us in Ireland and went to Barcelona, so I'm sure she's got like 10 pages of shit to go see.
All right, yeah. Please, yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, she's the drill sergeant. Get her, please.
I'm grateful for the new special I taped that I'm really happy. I taped 2 specials this year. The first one got trashed. The second one went really well. Will be coming out probably in March. I did a movie called Road Dog with Doug Stanhope that won some awards at some festivals.
When can we see that
online? You can see it right now. Go on, any streaming site. You can get it. I shot 22 episodes of a game show on the Game Show Network. Cannot remember the title of it. That's how much I remember it.
How many episodes?
22.
Jeez.
And then I did my 1,000th episode of my podcast. My son graduated college. I brought my daughter to bars all year and taught her how to shoot bar pool.
Wow.
And most importantly, I didn't have any big deaths in my life. There's nobody that died that threw me for a loop. I mean, there were some that I was sad about, but I didn't lose anybody significant.
Yeah, that's number one for me, I guess. Weird it was your last one. That's number one for me. And then, no, you're right. I haven't given this thought at all. I could do it next year, and I'll do it for 2 years.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yes, here's the other thing. Folks, you've been so good to us in the past. We need your talent and your time for new songs and new logos for the new year. Now, the songs, again, it's amazing. Some of the people that do it are literally recording artists and engineers and musicians that send us like multi-track amazing stuff. Other people pull out an acoustic guitar in their mom's basement and they bang out something that we absolutely love. So whatever it is, keep it to 20 or 30 seconds. And also logos, hand-drawn, computer-rendered, whatever it is. We need some new logos. It's always fun when it's topical if you do something that's going on that week. But if not, any classic logo will work. Send them all to fitzdogradio@gmail.com. Or just go to the Fitzdog website and you can get a link there to send us stuff.
Look how Christmassy the logo is this year.
I love it. Isn't it great?
And look, Gibbons is in there.
Gibbons is in there. It's from Matt A. And I love the colors. I hate that I'm the Grinch and you get to be little Lou.
I'm Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who.
Are you kidding me? I have not watched. Have you watched? Okay, so people right now are listening to this on Christmas Eve. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
But we're recording this on Saturday, right? A week earlier.
Oh, no. People are listening to this
you're
on the
right.
17th. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yesterday's that we recorded is for Christmas Eve.
Right, I'm sorry. Okay, so all right, you guys are all in the same boat. We have a week to go. Is anyone feeling like it felt really early at one point? Like, oh my God, are people really putting up the trees? Like, it's not even Halloween and I see Christmas stuff. And then what happens is I poo-poo that. Next thing I know, it's Christmas week.
And you have not done your cards and you've not bought any.
Right.
And not only that, I got Erin's birthday is December 23rd. So I got to come up with like double the gifts.
Shame on her. No, but like I just see that Grinch logo. Like I haven't watched a single Christmas thing yet. It hasn't even been on in the background. I've done music. I have done that.
I know. I came over your house to sign those koozies and you were listening to some kind of Christmas channel. It was very nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have just, Siri put on whatever. But, and listen, the koozies are out. I know I'm all over the place. What I was building up to is I'm going to read as promised. I forgot to follow up on this, but Tom Shale's reviews of Kathy Lee Gifford's Christmas specials.
Well, wait. First of all, not too late to get the koozies. We just got a new shipment.
Yeah.
We're coming up on our third order of them. They're going fast. People with great feedback from people. I should have collected a bunch of emails from people that love the koozie, but
oh wow. You only send me the negative ones.
Go to fitzdog.com and there's instructions there on how to get on a Venmo, send the money to Mike and get him out to you.
Yeah, and I think we were caught up. So a lot of people who wrote, we sold out. We went in order of when people paid us and contacted us. So if you were like November 18th, 19th, although that sounds early, we had already sold out. So I think now, but listen, we'll make everything whole. Just write us if you have not received your koozie. I think it's safe to write us about now because I think they would have gotten.
I think
there.
Everybody's got them now.
Yeah.
Like I have not gotten any notifications from people at this point. I think everybody got them who ordered them before then.
But we'll make good on it for sure. So thank you guys for supporting us that way. That was great. Really, also really good numbers. Yeah.
Also, before you get into this, I wanted to say thank you to Chris Denman who hooked us up with some sweet new mics from Heil. And these things, I'm telling you, I listened back to it. It is like 30% better than it was before. These are beautiful mics, and thank you. We got a lot of feedback. Tom said volume is much better. Had to max out my volume for every episode before this one. I had it about 80%, which is normal. So anyway, Trevor Dominic says the sound is much better. The new mix is better. Mike, and you are finally high enough. Send Chris my thanks after he gets back from the MAGA rally.
Yes.
Kev Bomb, oh my God, clear sound improvement. Tom Schweda, thanks for turning it up. So on and on, we got tons of them. So we're glad that the quality is better.
Perfect. I like it.
All right, so you want to read
maybe
your
we're
little
not going
thing?
to pop our P's as much. I'm trying to talk by the mic.
Oh,
mic
yeah.
technique.
Yep. Also, before you read it, should we talk about the party we went to last week?
Billionaire party. Horrible.
Can we say who the billionaire was?
Maybe we shouldn't. It doesn't make us look good. And
all right, let's just say he's a right-wing billionaire. And we went to his house just to see the spectacle of it.
Between 6 and 9 billion. Significant billionaire.
Yeah.
Not just 1 billion.
Yeah. And we went with Tom O'Neill, who's a writer of Chaos. This guy is a big fan of Tom's. And so he's gotten to... I actually met him before. We both met him once before. And
yeah.
He threw a book party for Tom.
Like most billionaires, he's firmly on the spectrum. And he came out at one point, like just in a T-shirt, and I saw him like talking to someone in the hall. It was kind of like, oh, is there a giant party here with like about 2,000 people?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
And you walk in, and there's a two different mushroom bars to get your magic mushrooms. So
yeah.
I hit each one of them, and then there was
a high
pot
point,
bar
for sure.
No pun intended. And then I hit the marijuana bar, and then you guys were drinking cocktails. There's fire throwers. There's like Polynesian bongo drum circle. There's a DJ with Dumb and Dumber playing on a big screen TV behind him.
Another high point.
There was a tattoo tent where people, like 4 at a time, were getting actual tattoos, not henna, real tattoos. There was a
we got
gypsy.
our auras. Remember, we had our auras read in a little a hut.
Yeah, they take like a Polaroid, but it is imbued with your aura, and so she reads the colors.
If
and I was light blue, which you said I was
red.
sensitive.
Huh?
You were red. Yeah, you were red, which meant that you're Irish. Tom was like 8 different colors. It looked like a fucking explosion, which meant he's very mentally unstable.
Yeah.
And
what were you?
I was light blue, sensitive.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
They spun mine to say I'm in a creative stage and I should act now or whatever. I'm like, it looks like my aura is raging.
Yeah. And then we went downstairs, and there was a wine cellar with like expensive wine being poured. There was a dessert room. There was a comedy show.
I went to a stand-up comedy show in the theater.
Who was the guy?
Oh, man, he's great. And he was really funny about, what is his name? I'll get it in a minute. And he's a Latino guy with like wild hair, kind of like Jack Black energy. He actually did a Jack Black impression at one point. And he is like, all right, guys, I'm not used to, he's like, I normally play Holiday Inns. And Chris is now guessing. No, wild hair, like crazy wild hair. He was on a CBS show or some show also, but I'll get it. Anyway, he was really funny. And then so this is the best part. He's about to do one of his normal bits, and he starts and he stops and he goes, oh, okay, wait, hold on. Genuine question. This next bit, and everyone in the audience looks like billionaires. It was the worst crowd ever at this party. They're all, even in Christmas, like ridiculous loafers with no socks, but they're nerds, and a lot of them look like they hired like a designer that week to be like, how do I look casual? Like,
yes.
Can you make me look casual? And it was like the tightest blazers, not because they're fat, just because it was.
They were cocky. They were cocky geeks.
Oh, it was terrible. And no, Dustin. It's Dustin something, Chris. Anyway, he And by the way, he's the only billionaire who doesn't like call Wilhelmina, if that's even still in existence, or a modeling agency, and is like, hey, $500 a girl, just sprinkle my party with crazy good-looking people.
Right.
Did not do that.
The staff were gorgeous. All the waiters and waitresses were gorgeous.
I don't think we saw one good-looking woman at a billionaire's giant party.
Well, we should mention he's gay.
Can you mention that? Yes, Dustin Ybarra, Ybarra. Very funny. Anyway, so he looks out and he stops himself and he goes, all right, wait, hold on. And he's laughing because he's realizing, he's like, so hold on, this whole next bit I just realized is about coupons. Do you guys know what coupons are? And then he explained what a coupon is to these rich people.
That's great.
And then he did his bit.
Yeah, that's great. Speaking of holiday gifts, I am shouting out to you guys to put me over the top. Right now on Instagram, I have 99,900 followers. And by the end of 2023, I would love to be at 100,000. So if you would, just pause the show right now, open up your Facebook or your Instagram, and throw me a follow. Oh, wait, no, I'm at 98.9. So I need just 100, what? 100,000? Or whatever, 1,000 more. Get me over the top, people. I'd appreciate it.
I have such a more modest ask. If I get 95 more followers, I'll be 85. I'll be over 3,500 followers. How about that?
There you go. Wow.
How about that?
Gibbons
I'm going to
time.
start getting
Gibbons
free
time.
rooms and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's read it. The Tom Shales
Okay, here we go.
reviews.
This is, all right, so you guys know, you need the context here. Tom Shales, it was considered, I think it's safe to say, the foremost and the best television reviewer in the country. He won the Pulitzer Prize. Incredibly great writer. Worked for the Washington Post. So this was not like a blogger. This was not insignificant. This was heavy stuff in a very, very sober newspaper of record. And he would review Kathie Lee Gifford's Christmas specials. And I'll just read you some of the highlights. And I didn't even find all of them. I only found 3 of them. So this was December 20th, 1995. His opening line is, "Give her enough tinsel and she'll hang herself." And she does. He then rails into her. Like, I'm only reading a couple of choice lines, but here it is. Kathie Lee Gifford, Home for Christmas. Kathie Lee Gifford's second annual CBS Christmas special is perhaps even worse than her first. A sickeningly saccharine vanity production that should really have been titled, "Oh, Come Let Us Adore Me." That ghastly Gifford grin, ear to ear and back again, seems steeped in self-esteem and almost blinding in its showbiz phoniness. Anyway, he goes, That's not all. At one point, that's not all she flaunts. Hapless husband Frank Gifford, the aging ABC sportscaster, is dragged before the cameras, as are the couple's mercilessly exploited children, Cody and Cassidy, for whom one feels the deepest sympathies. And then this line, imagine the therapist bills those kids will tally up in the years ahead.
Oh, my God. Wow.
On her Christmas special, Gifford is not only overreaching, she's over-screeching. It's the kind of voice that should be recording Muzak tunes for elevators and doctors' waiting rooms. The poor director, meanwhile, must have been instructed to make sure not more than 30 seconds went by without a shot of Kathie Lee, because she's all over this show like a bad toupee.
Oh, wow.
Hold on. For some reason, Gifford repeatedly calls her husband by his first and last name, as in, don't go, Frank Gifford. Bah, humbug, Frank Gifford. And how about you, Frank Gifford? Do you have a favorite Christmas story? Either she's afraid that we will forget his name or afraid that she will.
I hope this guy never reviews our podcast.
The special is not a treat for the whole family unless you're talking only about Gifford's family. For them, treat. For others, the equivalent of what commies might have used to torture political prisoners. You can almost hear the poor souls crying out, no, anything but that. That was all in one review.
Do you think she has read these?
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
They went in that, whatever the viral was back then, they went viral. Like people, there weren't even, I don't think there was really email yet, but people talked about it. It made like news people covered it. Okay. 2 years later, December 12th, 1997, opening line. Kathie Lee Gifford sings songs like she's mad at them. What did they ever do to her? Maybe she was frightened by a song as a child and by Christmas too, because each year on television she wreaks a bit more revenge. In the Washington Post. It's unbelievable. Okay, here's another one. And then he talks about her guests. First up, Kenny Rogers, looking as though he were miffed at being awakened from a nap in his dressing room. At one point he goes, wow, it kind of makes you feel warm inside, the way barium does. Okay, here's December 14th is the last one. December 14th, 1998. Opening line. What's the difference between the 24-hour flu and a Kathie Lee Gifford Christmas special? 23 hours. The actual title for this year's exercise in false piety, faked sentiment, and aerobic grinning was Kathie Lee Gifford Christmas Every Day, an appalling prospect any way you look at it. This is the kind of television to be watched not from the couch, as it were, but while peering out from behind it and using it as a shield, as if perhaps an air raid or some other sort of massive bombing were in progress. I mean, it's like it's personal. And then Gifford's husband, Frank, rolled out onto the stage in his usual quasi-mummified state, was videotaped in a hotel room with a 46-year-old former flight attendant in 1997. He's sported a sappy sheepishness ever since. Now we are to believe Frank's been forgiven and the marriage is stronger than ever, or at least Kathie Lee is stronger than ever. She looks like she could bench press a horse. The woman is tough. The woman's got grit. When Kathie Lee attacks a song, she takes no prisoners, and the victims always left lying lifeless on the stage. Okay, here's the last part of this review. Gifford tenses all her muscles to sing. It seems as if her whole body is grimacing. And so one wonders, if it hurts her so much, why does she do it? It's not as if we couldn't live without it. After she sang Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the same song popped up in a commercial for Glade air freshener, except Glade's version was more emotionally affecting. Where, oh, where is a cable outage when you really need one? Please, this is his last line. Please, one might have prayed, in the name of all that's holy, let it stop, let it stop, let it stop.
He doesn't want it to stop. Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
He loves it. He loves it.
Those are the best.
Oh, I want to see him. By the way, when you said like everybody talked about it and it spread around, I immediately thought about how did it work back then before email and the internet? Like if something spread, was it just phone calls and letter writing? Like, how did you tell people, holy shit, you missed the Kathie Lee thing? Now, how do you see it? It's gone. It only aired that one time.
I know, it really is wild. I think, you know what, believe it or not, I think morning DJs had a lot to do with the gossip.
Oh, yeah. Howard Stern used to play that stuff.
Oh, yeah. No, he played, and Kathie Lee would go on his show. And then he couldn't get enough. When Frank cheated, Howard couldn't get enough of it.
Yeah.
So I think they would they would play the audio. They would play clips like from the special, and they themselves would tear it apart. Yeah. And I'm sure morning DJs read these reviews were famous. So I'm sure they, a newscast, local news and stuff would do it, and morning DJs.
But I remember when South Park came out, and this must have been around 90, when it was a video before it was a TV show.
Oh, yeah.
I'm guessing it was in the range of 1996. I remember being on a bus. My friend Jerry Red Wilson, he rented a bus, and we drove to Bensonhurst in Brooklyn to look at the Christmas decorations because it's all Italians and they go berserk.
Right.
And there was a VCR and a TV on the bus, and we watched what would have been a viral internet video that Trey and Matt made.
Yeah.
And we were fucking blown away. And then you started to talk to people. Only certain people had seen it. And it took a year for the general population to have seen it. And then at that point, that's when Comedy Central made it a show.
Yeah, and like the Jerky Boys audio tapes were all passed around. Right. I mean, viral was a physical thing then. It was a practical item.
Right.
And I remember, maybe it was Ted Fine's wedding in Boston, but I was working at MTV at the time, and all of a sudden someone put a VHS tape in and goes, have you seen the new episode of Beavis and Butthead? Which part of it was made on the same floor as MTV News where I was. And I'm like, what? And it was the Cornholio episode. Well, I immediately made a copy. I brought it up to Boston, and I think I ruined Ted Fine's wedding because the entire time, all of us were like, are you threatening me?
Yeah.
I need TP from my butt.
I am Don Holio. I have pee-pee in my butthole.
Cornholio. I need TP from my bunghole. And we did that literally. I mean, I was the best man, but like on the line of like we were all in our suits just quoting Beavis. I remember
that. Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I didn't know you were Ted's best man.
Yeah.
No shit.
I know. I think back on it. I wish I could do it again because I didn't realize there were certain responsibilities of like thanking, or you should anyway, thank. I just was very, said words about Ted, and Michelle, but I don't know. I don't know how I did. I don't really remember it.
Yeah.
That was early. Dude, that was like a year or two out of college.
Yeah, that was soon after.
And they're still going strong.
We want to also thank Michael Bo Burnett, did this week's song, a little techno gem, very cool. And corrections, we had Ron Dvorak said, the first part of Nixon's Wikipedia page, I said that Nixon was not poor growing up because that's the whole mythology. He said the first part of Nixon's Wikipedia page says he was born into a poor family of Quakers. However, the early life and education section says he was born in a house built by his father located on his family's lemon ranch. The ranch failed, but his dad was able to open a grocery store and a gas station. A homeowner and struggling business owner is not poor. Renters who work for business owners are poor. All right, so I guess he was middle class.
We, speaking of like calling people or if they self-label as poor and all that, Norm Macdonald, we did a show, and I want to keep this super vague, but one of the other EPs, at one point, some heated discussion came up, and he's like, I didn't grow up rich. And we're like, what? Because the guy went to boarding school, so we're like, what? And he's like, I didn't grow up. He's like, I grew up poor. And Norm was like, you didn't grow up poor. And the guy goes, my father went bankrupt twice. And Norm just goes, poor people don't go bankrupt. Just screamed at him that poor people don't go bankrupt.
Did you see the David Beckham documentary?
Yeah. Oh,
remember
right, with how she got to school, everything.
She's like, she's talking to the camera, and he's like hanging outside the room, and she's like, we both grew up working class, poor. And he walks in, he goes, hold on. He goes, what car did your daddy drive you to school in? And she's like, no, but that doesn't matter. He goes, what car did your daddy drive you to school in? She goes, well, it's complicated. What car? He fucking laid into her, and she goes, it was a Rolls Royce.
But we were working class. Yeah.
This is Nevada Smith, says Mike Gibbons mistakenly said that Joaquin Phoenix played Caesar in the movie Gladiator. The movie takes place around 180 AD, and Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. Joaquin played Commodus, the Roman emperor that ruled from 177 to 192 AD.
All right. I have a question without Googling it. Isn't Caesar the name used for the emperor when they say Hail Caesar? I'm probably wrong.
There was two Caesars, and there was Caesar Augustus, and there was the original Caesar. One was like New Coke, and it was his nephew, and he took over for him afterwards. Okay,
there you go. Well, here, dictionary, Caesar, a title used by Roman emperors. Yeah, especially those from Augustus to Hadrian. So I don't know if that includes Commodus.
Commodus sounds like a guy you take a shit on.
But Caesar is a title. I understand there's also a dude. The change from being a surname to a title used by the Roman emperors can be traced to 68 AD.
Well, right here it says, Mike Denman says, in 166, Commodus was made Caesar together with his younger brother, Marcus Aeneas. So one guy's name is Commode and the other is Anus. What's up with this family?
A lot of butt play.
This one comes from Susan Bay.
Meanwhile, women are like, are you guys talking about the Roman Empire again?
Yeah. All right. Susan Bay says the Gospels in the New Testament were not written 200 years after the death of Jesus. The Gospel, believed by scholars to be the most likely written first, is Mark. It is believed to have been written around the year 65 to 70 after he died. If Jesus died in CE 33, that means it was written roughly 30 to 35 years after his death. All right, maybe that one. But most of the other books were written several hundred years after his death. And I'm
not even sure about this one, but listen, I'm believing a source I had, so who knows? Who knows? But it wasn't at all during his lifetime.
Speaking of dates, I will be in Milwaukee at the Improv December 29th through 31st. Make your New Year's Eve plans. The Den Theater in Chicago, January 13th. That's going to sell out. Get your tickets. Atlanta Punchline, January 18th through 20. Also coming to Portland, Oregon, La Jolla in San Diego, and Tampa. All tickets at fitzdog.com. I also want to talk about ticket buying. Mike, take it over.
Come on, man. It's called Game Time already. You go on there. All right, I'm going to do it right now. Los Angeles, Discover. Already, Netflix is a joke comedy festival. It's in May. They already have stuff listed. You just find out what's going on. Colombia at Mexico is today at 3:30. You want to go for $37? See a little football? We have the Commanders at the Rams tomorrow. Only $58, and it's going to go down. That's the thing with this. It's Game Time. You could do it last minute. Last minute tickets. There's flash deals, zone deals. You can easily find your tickets of every kind, and you get a view from your seat at the venue, plus the lowest price guarantee. You get event cancellation, job loss protection. So it's the only ticketing app that gives you complete peace of mind with your purchase. You can buy
Dallas. In Dallas, you can go see Nicki Minaj tonight for $76. That seems like a pretty square deal.
And it's going to go down.
Yeah, it's going to go down.
And they're obsessed with finding ways to help you save money right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts, which is like I like to roll. I'm not going in to see the warm-up band. So you find the exclusive flash deals. Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PAPERS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PAPERS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets.
Lowest price.
Guaranteed.
Also, we are supported by Omaha Steaks,
Love 'em.
which, I mean, I'm telling you, during the holidays, this is the time where you want to take the time away from shopping at the store and spend it with your family who you love. Or maybe you don't. Maybe you'd rather duck out to Ralph's and pick up a couple steaks. But they're not going to be the same quality as you get
So
from
much
Omaha.
more than steaks.
More than steaks. You can
Way
pick
more.
yourself up. Oh, tendy, juicy. Butcher's cut filet mignons. What mouth-watering burgers, gourmet jumbo franks, all easy to prepare meals that are ready in a flash. Ship it right away. Shop early, beat the shipping rush. Go to omahasteaks.com, use code PAPERS to check it out. I mean, I did it. I talked about the trip to the Malloys where my mother ordered a big box. It got us through 3 days of visiting guests without being an imposition on them. And it's also great because you just have it in the freezer. And, you know, at the last minute, instead of like cooking up like, you know, some crappy pasta that leaves everybody exhausted, you pull out a fresh steak. And like Mike said, chefs are now saying, cook it frozen. That's the best way to barbecue a steak.
There is a theory that grilling, well, you would use your cast iron pan, but from frozen, all these nerds in their food labs have done the test, and that is the thinnest amount of the well done around the when you're searing it. It doesn't go that deep because it's frozen. Anyway, look it up. I'm not making this up. Like I
Visit
did
Omaha
Jesus's
Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com. Take advantage of 50% off site-wide. Plus, use promo code PAPERS at checkout to get that extra $30 off your order. Minimum order may be required. So, you know, just don't. This is crazy. Visit omahasteaks.com.
I had some of their desserts in my freezer for a long time, and they were like apple tarts.
Apple
and I was like, I had
caramel
a sweet
tarts.
tooth, and I had nothing in the house. I'm like, oh man, I got the Omaha Steaks desserts in there. I forgot about. Amazing.
All right, let's get to the front page, Mike. We are 47 minutes into the podcast, and we have yet to read a news story.
Let's get to Rudy Giuliani. This story made me laugh. Rudy Giuliani, so he lost in court. He's ordered to pay $148 million to the 2 Georgia election workers for defamation. Did you ever see these poor women interviewed?
Oh, they're devastated. The death threats.
Mother and daughter, constant death threats and being yelled at and everything. Anyway, Rudy Giuliani, the former New York City mayor, already had been held liable for defaming 2 Georgia election workers before the civil trial began in Washington, D.C. Giuliani made the defamatory statements about Ruby Freeman and Wandrea Shea Moss as part of a series of false claims that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. All right, anyway, there's a lot of
ballot fraud. Yeah.
A lot of details here, but the best was, so what was going on this week was his lawyer is doing the best he can to defend him, and then Giuliani would give interviews where he would slander them again.
Yeah, right.
Like, while in court, he's saying the exact opposite, like that he did not defame them.
Yeah.
So anyway, his lawyer at one point said the women had been through enough. His lawyer told the court he isn't able to explain why his client was making claims out of the court that go against what he's arguing in the courthouse. Giuliani was quoted this week. Everything I said about them is true. They were engaged in changing the votes. He just won't stop. When he was told there was no proof whatsoever of that, he insisted, "You're damn right there is. Stay tuned." So later, as a lawyer attempted to suggest, he gave up, and he suggested that he should not be judged too harshly and that his behavior is the result of being an old man. He's almost 80. And this has taken a bit of a toll on him.
Good, so he doesn't need the $185 million anymore. $148 million. This is truly his 9/11.
Except he loved 9/11.
It made him. It made him. Him and Osama bin Laden were the big winners on 9/11.
Yeah.
By the way, where is he going to get $148 million? You know, if only he had sold his soul to a billionaire who owed him something big.
Well, also, if only he worked as a lawyer for someone who paid his bills.
Right. Exactly.
He'd have a lot more money.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's happening.
A 4-month-old baby has been found alive by the grace of God, his parents said, after the child was sucked up into a tornado in Tennessee. Here's what I love. These people who say that God saved their kid, he also sucked it up and fucking threw it into a tree. The couple said the deadly tornado on Saturday tore apart their mobile home, picked up a bassinet with the baby still in it. He survived and was just discovered in a fallen tree in the pouring rain. Thanks, God. The baby, his 1-year-old brother, and parents only suffered from minor cuts and bruises. Their roof was torn off. The tip of the tornado came in, and he was the first thing to go up. I was pretty sure he was dead, and we weren't going to find him, but he's here by the grace of God.
But
yeah, he was.
Is it grace?
Right. By the way, baby's name is Lord. And he really is like the Lord. He ascended into heaven. He was wearing a one-piece bodysuit, very much like Jesus Christ.
Meanwhile, sadly, this is the exact same story that Tennessee women use when they're forced to go out of state for an abortion.
Right.
Twister came. Twister came and took the infant away. Took the
right
little
out of my
fetus
belly.
right out of my body.
Yeah. Threw him on a tree.
I'll check the trees. I mean, it's very small.
All right, what's this about a blood test?
Oh, I love this. A revolutionary blood test can detect suicidal thoughts. The new study highlights the significant physical dimensions of depression, specifically in cellular metabolism. Researchers are now focusing on markers of cellular metabolism as key indicators in studying mental illness, aiming to refine diagnostic and treatment approaches. So they're really excited that your blood panel can be tested to see if you have suicidal thoughts, or you could just ask them.
Right. Yeah. The other way to detect if someone's depressed, just are they sitting in the prone position, unshowered, and talking about how Ellen's TV show saved their life? Suicidal.
Is there also a new revolutionary blood test that can tell if you hate your job?
Yeah.
What other blood test? What else can they tell us that's already so obvious?
By the way, imagine the waiting room for that test study. Just a lot of lively conversation.
Now, this would be an impressive blood test to me if it could test that, oh, you're predisposed to feeling suicidal, even if you're not feeling it yet. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know if I want to know that. But this is my depression is so severe, it's affecting me on a molecular level. I don't think you need the blood test to say that. I'll probably tell you that.
Yeah, you'd know that pretty fast.
Yeah.
A Florida mother of 5. Oh, this could have gone into Florida, man, but it didn't. A Florida mother of 5 who received donations after a burglar supposedly stole her children's Christmas gifts was outed as a liar and taken into custody, with the Grinch dancing along to her arrest. Shayna Hudson broke the hearts of her kind neighbors when she appeared on TV weeks ago to share her story of how a burglar broke in and made off with the children's gifts. Community rallied, donated, and then she was busted for making it all up. She was arrested for making a false report to the police. The gifts were found, and so this NBC decided their news decided to teach her a lesson. So they sent this Grinch who sang. He danced along next to her while she was getting arrested, going, "Ring, ring! Hey Shayna, Whoville called. They want their Grinch back." And so I guess the news van was in cahoots with the police to do a little shaming campaign. Later on, they picked up a child molester accompanied by a Michael Jackson impersonator singing, "I'm bad, I'm bad."
So they this bitch, she hid. I'm surprised she even got them gifts. I thought it would be I'm not buying them gifts. So they've all been taken. Now I want, everybody else to buy them gifts. But she hid him at a neighbor or a relative's house, I guess. Anyway, but what was one of the details here? The stolen gifts were eventually found. So the sheriff's department decided, sorry. The way you put the story in here was a little confusing. Anyway, in hearing the news, O.J. Simpson stopped his search for the burglars.
He did.
Yeah, he was out there.
Yeah.
Because O.J., if nothing else, the guy's a good Samaritan.
Yes.
And he does not rely just on the police to do police work.
Right.
He's out there looking for the killers of Nicole. Still no leads. Somehow there's no leads. He's been on it a long time. And then this one derailed his search for Nicole's killers because he had to help this poor woman and her children.
And when I'm looking for killers, first place I go, golf course. I would search every golf course in Florida if I was him. A North Carolina mother proved that a high school teacher was having a sexual relationship with her son when she came upon the teacher and the student having intercourse in a parked car. That sounds weird. Intercourse, like not sex, but specifically he was inside of her.
Well, I think that is important because so my kids now, hooking up doesn't mean intercourse.
Right.
So it's like, and then she went out and hooked up with him. I'm like, what? They're like, no, like that means made out. I'm like, wait a minute. What are you talking about? So I think there's all types of sex also. And I think this is, listen, it's a home run. So I think it's worth detailing.
Well, back in the old days, making love meant courting or, trying to get somebody to like you was called making love.
I did not know that.
Yep. Gabriel Cartea Neufeld, 26, who is believed to have worked as a science teacher. Okay, so maybe it was sex ed. For 12th grade, 9th through 12th graders at the high school, was charged with 5 counts of felony sexual activity. The mother, I guess, checked the Life 360 app and was able to track the kid down. Noticed that he was not at rugby practice. It says that she was engaged in sex with the student.
He was in a different scrum.
At least 5 times, but fewer than 100 times. If she banged the teenager less than 100 times, they must not have been seeing each other for longer than a week because those kids can fuck.
The mom is such a cock blocker. This poor kid.
I know. And I think she believed in the past that he had been at rugby practice because he came home drenched in sweat and smelling like ass.
And his ears were all chewed up from being between thighs, rubbing back and forth.
You're right.
In her scrum.
And he was exhausted.
She's 26 years old.
Yeah, that's pretty hot.
And I saw pictures of her, and the mom, I don't think it's going to be a good Christmas in that house.
All right, so we've gone from Florida to North Carolina. Now let's take it to Louisiana, where a woman with 3 husbands who practices Vikingism allegedly held a 4th partner captive as a sex slave, forcing her to denounce Christianity and offer a puppy as a ritual sacrifice to the gods. Hannah Frisbee, the 29-year-old leader of the West Monroe cult, was arrested on Friday. Is it a cult if there's just 3 of you? That's
She's precocious. 29-year-old leader of a cult.
The Sikh sect practice Satanism, witchcraft, and Vikingism, the worship of the Norse pantheon, and ritualistically sacrificed a puppy. I bet they loved Hagar the Horrible, the comic strip.
Yeah.
The victim, who suffers from autism and ADHD, was engaged in polyamorous. All puppies have ADHD.
Yeah.
Was engaged in polyamorous relationship with Hannah Frisbee and the 3 men. Frisbee told her that she lived with him because she doesn't do long distance. Frisbee alleged placed a puppy on a table for the victim and held a large knife to the dog's chest and told her it was a sacrifice to the gods. It's not clear if the puppy was actually killed. I doubt it, because I doubt she finished, because she had ADHD. She probably got distracted by a TikTok video or a squirrel on the fence outside.
All right, there is so much here. First of all, this Frisbee woman doesn't do long distance relationships. Is that because she likes to keep it traditional and very straightforward with the 3 husbands?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
My husband brings home the bacon. Oh, yeah? Mine brings home autistic ADHD women.
Also, Hannah Frisbee is a leader of a cult, and it's not called Ultimate Frisbee. She really dropped the ball there.
Yeah, she's not branding well. She's not branding.
It's right in front of her Viking face.
Hey, listen, speaking of in front of your face, give yourself the gift of insane savings this holiday season with Mint Mobile's best wireless deal of the year. Right now, when you switch to Mint Mobile and buy any 3-month plan, you'll get another 3 months for free. That's 6 months of premium wireless service for the price of 3. Mint Mobile lets you order and activate from home while saving tons of phone plans starting at just $15 a month. Seriously. I can't think of a better gift than turning an overpriced wireless bill into just $15 a month with Mint Mobile. I am so over I'm not going to say which carrier I have, but there's only 2 or 3 major ones. And first of all, you can't get in touch with them. Try going on a website for mine. It's impossible.
All Mint Mobile plans come with unlimited talk and text and high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. What else you want?
I want the fact that the savings comes from, they are all online. So they've eliminated traditional costs of retail, no brick and mortar. They pass that savings on to you. You can use your own phone with it. You can switch very easily with the eSIM. Or if you need a new device for a limited time, get 6 months of free service when you buy a selected device and plan. So for a limited time, buy any 3-month Mint Mobile plan and get 3 more months free by going to mintmobile.com/papers. That's mintmobile.com/papers. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month. Mintmobile.com/papers.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's pretty amazing. I wrote it down twice. I liked it so much.
Local news. Here we go.
Okay.
Nope. Entertainment. Maybe it's local entertainment for us. We're in Hollywood, man.
This story is called Cruising for a Bruising. The ex-husband of the socialite who is reportedly romancing Tom Cruise is warning the Top Gun star to keep his wallet wide open. Irrespective of whoever she's with, Tom Cruise, quote, Tom Cruise or anybody else, they should be aware that she likes the finer things in life and has expensive and luxurious tastes, Russian oligarch Dmitry Tetskov told the Daily Mail of his ex-wife, Elsina Kairova. Tom should keep his eyes and wallet wide open.
Wow. That's a nice warning, actually. He also added, and this is not a joke, that he's happy for her and he would wish her all the best. Would wish her? Well, why doesn't he?
The tycoon who made his fortune in diamonds and mining said his 3-year divorce cost him nearly $200 million.
What does 3-year divorce mean? Do they mean his 3-year marriage?
Yeah, it must have been a 3-year marriage.
And he owns a diamond mine. Like, how much did she need?
Right.
Oh, I want to find out more about her.
Well, here's the thing. Once Tom gets her into Scientology, she will cost him a lot less money. The floors will shine from her scrubbing them with a toothbrush. The Scientologists will have that $200 million by the end of the month. Or as they say it in Scientology, before Lactagon passes the 3rd dimension and embeds itself in the 4th ring of Saturn.
The 4th ring of Saturn. All right. Well, I want to find out about this relationship because it's interesting on both sides. I'm always interested in Tom's relationships.
Yeah.
Here, Cher invites the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to go you know what yourself. Yeah, we do. While visiting the Kelly Clarkson show on December 15th, the goddess of pop, is that really what we're calling her, brought up how she and the Rolling Stones are the only artists to ever have #1 songs span across 7 decades on the charts.
Damn, that's amazing.
She then added, it took
50s,
4 of
60s,
them.
70s, 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. So they could, yeah, wow, that's amazing.
She said it took 4 of them to be one of me. Really? Like one of you who doesn't write your own songs? One of you who was made famous because you were, I think, really good looking at the time and picked out by a guy and got a TV show with him and married him?
And auto-tunes your songs now?
Why is she comparing herself to like unbelievably impactful musicians?
First of all, I could name a song from each of those decades for the Stones. I can only name Do You Believe in Life After Love?
Is that even, I couldn't even name that. What's the one where she's dressed like a whore on a Navy ship?
Was she in The Village People?
If you're not back far. I don't know.
Yeah. If I could turn back time.
Yeah, Turn Back Time.
And then she had the one where she's an Indian.
Turn Back Time sounds like the shitty Aerosmith songs that were just like AI could make 1 million of those right now. They're written by professional songwriters, and it's like working backwards from, hey, we brought you a hit. Here it is. You just have to sing it.
Let's see if we can each name a Rolling Stones song from each decade that was a #1 song. I would say Satisfaction in the 60s was #1.
Okay. I mean, there was a million. Mother's Little Helper, Paint It Black. You know, there was all the hot rock stuff.
But these are #1. In the 70s, a #1 song would have been...
I mean, come on. It's all those... my favorite 3 albums are 69, 70, 71. Beggar's Banquet, Let It Bleed...
Exile on Main Street.
Sticky Fingers, then of course Exile on Main Street. Why don't you just say Sympathy for the Devil to keep it simple?
All right, and then in the 80s you had the Some Girls album, so Miss You and Some Girls were both Beast of Burden, might have been #1.
Where was Start Me Up? You're thinking 90s?
That was, no, Start Me Up. Oh, that might have been 90s.
No, Start Me Up is the 80s.
Okay.
So what would the 90s be?
90s would be...
It's a little trickier now.
90s would be
Undercover.
Yeah.
With that crazy drum riff.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. You lose me after the 80s, I think. Let's make America Florida.
Here we go, pal. And sorry to all the gays who I just offended by knocking your icon, but honest, she should not.
Who, Mick Jagger?
And now, by the way, no. And now she says she does not give a shit and asks, why would I at this point about being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You know what? I wouldn't be in it now if they gave me $1 million. I bet she would. Okay, Make America Florida. So this is the funny thing about this one. I saw a headline on a news aggregating site. It was just a headline, and the only thing it said was, man poisoned nephew's meatball sandwich. And I'm like, that sounds like Florida. And so I click on it, and I was right. After purchasing a meatball sandwich for his nephew, a Florida man poured Visine all over the food, which was later partially consumed by his relative, according to the police who arrested the man on a felony poisoning charge. Investigators say James Leach, 45, was at a market near his Pinellas Park home, and he asked the employee for a bottle of Visine due to having dry eyes. Upon securing the Visine, Leach allegedly opened a container of food and proceeded to pour the eye drop solution all over the meatball sandwich. When the worker declared that the liquid could hurt someone, Leach reportedly replied that it would only cause the victim to shit himself and puke his brains out. That's a quote. Vizine's active ingredient, which I can't pronounce, can actually be lethal if ingested.
Well, since when are cashiers at Store 24 also chemists? What does this guy know?
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when I was a kid, when I started getting high at 13, I always had a denim jacket. I had a Levi's denim jacket with Jim Morrison stenciled on the back. And I always had my Visine and my Bubble Yum in the chest pocket for right before I got home.
You put the Visine on the Bubble Yum.
That's right.
Eat it, throw up, get out of family dinner. I didn't know it could be lethal, although we did a Visine story recently.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I'm going to guess this meatball sandwich at this market in Pinellas might have been lethal enough. It's probably one of those 7-Eleven sandwiches.
This is a new one. I like this new category, making Washington, D.C., Florida.
Well, I just saw this story and it sounded so Florida. An 85-year-old man in Washington, D.C. was arrested for allegedly stabbing his 81-year-old wife to death after he refused to eat the pancakes she made. What? Stephen Schwartz is accused of fatally stabbing his wife at their home Sunday. He, quote, did not want to eat the pancakes she made and stabbed her in the back. On Sunday, police responded to their home after receiving a report of a stabbing. When the officers arrived, they found 81-year-old Sharon Schwartz inside their apartment suffering from stab wounds. Police also found 85-year-old Stephen Schwartz with self-inflicted injuries and a full plate of pancakes. I added that part.
Was he molested at an IHOP as a child? Like, what happened? What would make you snap over pancakes?
I saw you putting Visine on it, bitch.
Yeah,
that's
right?
it.
I mean, I've been stabbed in the back, but it wasn't after someone made me pancakes. It was after I worked on the Ellen DeGeneres Show. Can you tell our NDAs have expired, by the way, folks?
Yeah. I mean... Was she super pissed he wasn't eating them? I think they're leaving that part out. Like, he didn't want to eat them. So
no,
maybe she dug in.
Her.
Maybe it's her like 40th meal in a row of just pancakes and they're in a real standoff.
Honey, big surprise. Breakfast for dinner. Not again, bitch! A congressional staffer filmed a gay porn video in a Senate hearing room, according to footage leaked to the Daily Caller. In the footage, a nude man can be seen engaging in anal sex before the cameraman shows that the act is taking place in a Senate hearing room. It appears to be unprotected sex. Well, sounds like congressional aides. The video was reportedly shared in a private group for gay men in politics. While the report stated it could not confirm the identities of either man, Rogers went on to retweet several posts identifying one of the men as Aidan Mays Soropsky, a staffer for 80-year-old Senator Ben Cardine. That same staffer was also identified as the man who shouted "Free Palestine" at him on Wednesday in the Cannon House office building. New kind of pro-Palestine. Instead of throwing rocks, he's throwing loads. Hey now.
And George Santos has never tried harder to get back into politics after reading this story.
Yeah.
Why is it Santos should just claim credit for it? Why not? Yeah, that was me.
I have not heard about an ass fucking in Congress that hard since McCarthy got ousted. We are down to, it's sad, but we are down to the obituary.
Here they come.
It's just one. Oh, no, it's two. This guy I knew, we hired him on Crashing. He's a comedian. Kenny DeForest, a very funny. Did we talk about him on the podcast coming up?
The one that we recorded for Christmas Eve, we did.
Yeah, we
just
did.
a
All
little
right.
though, just a little.
All right. Well, we'll just say he's missed. It's very sad. 37. And who's this other guy that died?
What, Andre Brower? 61, passed away after a brief illness. He won 2 Emmy Awards. And I forget what he was. He's also funny, man. Let's look up Brower. He's
look him
funny.
up, Denman.
Huh?
I'm asking Denman to look it up. He looks familiar. Was he in...
Oh, no. And he's been funny, too.
I was going to say, I remember him from a comedy. I can't remember what comedy it was.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Which I've never
Nine-Nine.
seen. But he's very famous for Homicide, Life on the Street.
Isn't it amazing that Denman is on the Zoom call, researching, and we both come up with it while talking faster than he comes up with it?
Lung cancer. God damn it.
Denman has lung
But
cancer?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, man, he was a very
cancer.
good straight man.
He was.
Terse, he was the authority.
Let's cheer up. Let's cheer up.
I know. I've never seen the movie Glory.
And neither have I. We should watch it together.
I'm never in
Let's
the
get
mood
our
to
kids
watch
to
Glory.
watch it.
I'm never
we'll
in
get
the
our
mood.
kids to watch it. It'll be a learning experience.
All right. What are we doing?
Let's cheer up.
Funnies. Here we go.
Lockhorns. Loretta's on the laptop. Leroy's in the background. He doesn't look happy. And she says Facebook was tough enough, but now we have to fake an exotic life on Instagram too. Isn't it amazing? Like I've been on Facebook forever. I'll be honest with you. I literally never go on it.
I quit Facebook. I mean, I have an account, I guess. I don't remember last time I was there.
But there's people there that write me notes that I should be responding to. I reply to everybody on Instagram. I reply to everybody on Twitter. I reply to all of the YouTube comments that are made on our YouTube page. I reply to everybody that emails to the website.
Yep.
It's enough. It's and I'm supposed to get on fucking TikTok now? I can't do it. How much time do you have in the day?
I know.
Now she's in bed.
Yeah.
She's in bed. She's got a thermometer in her mouth. She looks miserable. Leroy is jubilant, and he goes, "I'll take care of everything, Loretta. Where do you keep it?" Hager, the horrible. He is horrible. If he's so horrible, why is he put on the funny pages for our children to read about?
And he's in a Viking cult.
Yes, he's got 3 wives, Helga and 2 other women that are locked in the basement. So this is an old classic. It's the end of the year. I wanted to put it in because this is the quintessential Hager comic strip. Helga's sitting at a table. She's talking to her friend. They're having a little cup of tea. And she goes, "How did you and Hager meet?" And Helga says, "Hager stormed my father's castle and carried me off." Hager goes, she should have let go of the baked ham. So not only did he abduct her, he's slamming her for the only reason he took her is because she had food. And then raped her.
Yeah. It's a nice lighthearted joke.
Yeah.
He raped me for the ham. That's basically what's being said here. Yeah. Okay, I got a Far Side. I like this one. It's these father and son, and they're at a national park, or it looks like that, and they're taking a photo of this monument, this big sculpture, and the sign says it's the Donner Party Memorial. And you look at it, and it's a plate with 2 pieces of bread and a foot between the 2 pieces of bread. A very conspicuous giant foot sticking out of the bread.
Someone should actually build that and put that up somewhere. That is too funny.
If you haven't seen it, Ken Burns' brother, also named Burns, and I should know his name and I'm forgetting it. He did a documentary on the Donner Party, and it's fascinating.
Really?
Yeah, because they were going to eat the help first. They're like Native American guides, and one was very much like a scene out of Jack London where they were drawing straws. I forget how it went. Well, no, that's another story. One of them sensed that he might be eaten and kind of always kept his distance and then disappeared. So that was one. Another one was 3 guys made an agreement and they drew straws, and then the 2 couldn't do it to the third guy, even though the third conceded. Rules are rules.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rick Burns was the guy's name.
Nice.
So, Blondie, I'm just reading it because it's so bad. He's on the phone at work, and he says, and Blondie is saying, I'm about to book my biggest Christmas banquet ever. And Dagwood goes, sweet. Hopefully those folks have deep pockets. And then now we cut to Blondie sitting with Santa Claus and Mama Claus. Mama Claus?
Mrs. Claus?
Mrs. Claus, and she goes, you don't know the half of it. And they're both going, ho, ho, ho. No. It's about Blondie. She doesn't look sexy. She's sitting down. Looks like she's got a fucking bow tie on or something. And don't break character. Don't get meta. Do it right. Show the suffering of this woman, and let me fantasize a little bit about how sexy she looks. I can't get excited when Papa Smurf and Mama Smurf are sitting there.
Maybe your other take is, here's this smoke show, this unbelievably sexy woman who is so dumb she still believes in Santa Claus.
Yes.
And is impressed that these 2 psychopaths who are dressed as Mr. and Mrs. Claus are going to have a giant, like they're really going to have a big banquet.
She believes this? Yeah.
Yeah. So she's that gullible and sweet and willing to do anything anyone says, and you get her at home in a few hours.
Right. I like that.
Yeah.
During the day, she's got a couple of homeless people sitting in her dining room ordering food because she's a caterer, and they're not going to pay for it. And that night, she's going to expect to get the high hard one from a guy in donut pajamas. Her whole life is a delusional fantasy.
A charade.
A charade. Thank you guys for listening. Merry, Merry Christmas to you. And if you're
One week
Jewish,
left, everybody. Let's get it all done.
Anthony Clark used to do a joke. He'd go, well, if you're Christian, Merry Christmas. If you're Jewish, Happy Hanukkah. And if you're an atheist, brr, sure is cold out there.
That's a good one.
We want to thank our sponsors as always. They've helped us get through this year and paid Chris Denman and Midcoast Media. So we want to tell you to support them. Go to Game Time, get the app, use the code PAPERS, get $20 off.
Yep.
Omaha Steaks is going to give you 50% off site-wide plus an extra $30 when you use PAPERS. And then finally, you're going to go to Mint Mobile and you're going to get yourself service for, I think it's like $15 a month, and you get 3 months free when you use the code PAPERS as well. So until New Year's Eve will be our next show. We already taped it, and it's a special show because we went through and we picked
Slow down. So this is the 17th.
Yeah.
And we have a show in a week on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yes. Okay.
That's the one we just taped.
Okay, but that one is the one we chose to do our favorite stories of the year.
Yes.
It's a best of, but we didn't take the easy way out and just cut and paste the old stories. We redid them, and we put a fresh spin on them. Okay. Well, we used a lot of the old jokes, but we also put new jokes in, and we kept it lively. It was more fun this way.
Yeah.
So thank you guys. Hope you have a great holiday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Take it easy. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Take it merry.
Take it merry. All right.